do some of the things that they need to do. For example, they have a casino. They've used the money from the casino to pave the roads in the reservation. They built a health clinic, so now they can have doctors and dentists come in a couple of days a week, and they can treat the people in the community. So again, healthcare, an important issue, and they're dealing with it on their own, but they're finding the means to do it, and it's the first thing that you think of when you really think of how you want to take care of yourself. Healthcare is right there. It's a primary issue.
Kareem would like to know who has inspired you and why.
Well, I think the first guy that inspired me was Jackie Robinson. I grew up in New York. I was a Brooklyn Dodgers fan, and we just won the World Series, so I had to mention that. But Jackie Robinson was a hero, and then Bill Russell of the Boston Celtics. I had a chance to meet him when I was still a teenager, and he inspired me a lot, both on the court and off the court. His awareness and commitment to social justice was as deep as his commitment to winning basketball. And he was a great example for me, Bill Russell especially, because I had aspirations to take his place. So I think, again, we have a sports hero, two sports heroes, Jackie Robinson and Bill Russell, that helped me understand what I needed to do with my life.
Let's a basketball question for you.
Okay.
How has the game changed from your day when you were playing to now?
Well, when I came into the league, there was no three-point shot. And then after they added the three-point shot, the teams didn't learn how to use it until more recently. I think the past 5-10 years, we've seen the three-point shot really become a determining factor in the game. It wasn't that involved while I was in the height of my career. But as the 90s and then into 2000s evolved, the three-point shot became a very important part of the game. And I think that it's really been, a positive, because now there's different ways to play the game, and you see different teams using different tactics all around the three-point shot. So I think that's really the one thing that's improved the game and made it more interesting for the fans.
I found it interesting in the documentary, I did not know this, was that there was a time when was it the NCAA that banned the dunk because of UCLA, because of your team using the dunk and your height, and what they were really singling you out.
Yeah, they were singling me out. They seemed to think that all I could do was dunk. I had more than one shot, though. They didn't realize that.
And when we talk about that, talk about versatility, and talk about a time when people need to be more versatile, when they outlawed that, they said you developed the most unstoppable shot of all time, the sky hook.
Well, the thing of it is, I had developed this sky hook before I got to UCLA. I started working on it when I was in grade school, and that was something that I had, and Coach Wooden showed me how to use it effectively.
Oh.
Yeah, but I already had the shot, but Coach Wooden showed me how to use it. He said, when you shoot it, end up where you can get some offensive rebounds, because the balls, when you miss, they bounce around. And it helped me figure out a very effective way of playing the game.
Someone asked a question in chat. Were you surprised, like when you first changed your name and people's response to it? And then it looks to me, the second part of that, it doesn't look like people respond the same way today. Does that mean that the world is a better place or a more accepting place?
I think the world is a more accepting place. But, I really didn't have as hard a time as Muhammad Ali had, because, he was really the pioneer in all of that. And when I changed my name, I wasn't doing it for any political reason. It was a sincere religious conversion on my part, and I wasn't doing it to say anything bad about other people. The black Muslims really were going around saying that white people were devils, and I wasn't going to give up dealing with one type of racism and embrace another type of racism. So I stayed away from that, and eventually the black Muslims became Orthodox, and we don't have those issues anymore.
One of the questions we have is about healthcare professionals. They're dealing with a lot of stress and exhaustion. COVID has turned an overtime game into an OT that never ends. We thought we'd be out of this by now. Of course, we know we're not seeing an end in sight for a while. So how do you think people should prepare mentally? And what role does the leadership team, particularly of our health centers, what role do they have in ensuring that frontline staff to make sure that they can take care of themselves as well?
Well, I think the leadership can let us know that, yes, we can beat this COVID-19 thing down, but we have to do it as a nation. We can't do it as individuals who have the various opinions on it. We have to agree on a way to deal with this virus as a nation, and we all have to accept that. If we don't, we're going to end up like we are, and we can't do that. But it's all about the leadership that we have. We have leaders that can explain to us how we can do this and give an example of how to do it in their own lives. I think the nation will follow it, and we'll get on top of this soon. I just saw it recently up in Canada. They dealt with it very effectively. They're not having a whole lot of problems up there. And they just took a very direct and sensible way for the whole nation to deal with this epidemic. And they're not having the problems that we have here in America.
And Kareem, someone asked a basketball question. Do you consider Coach Wooden to be a great manager or a great leader?
Well, I think Coach Wooden was a great teacher. He tried to deal with the lives of young men, and he was very effective at that. I don't know if he'd be able to coach an NBA team because it's a different thing. NBA coaches are more like, I'm having a hard time coming up with the word, but they're like supervisors, who they have to keep everybody in shape and keep everybody focused, but they're not teaching the game and not teaching life lessons. Everybody that plays in the NBA is considered to be an adult, and they have to deal with it in that fashion.
We've got about 10 minutes left with Kareem, so we will keep asking him your questions. One question from David is, did your training under Bruce Lee assist you in guiding your advocacy efforts?
Well, my training under Bruce Lee, my association with Bruce Lee really helped me because I found out that he had to deal with racism. And, it was something that made us simpatico. We absolutely understood that that was a problem here in America. Bruce dealt with it by going over to Hong Kong and making some movies, and people saw how dynamic he was. He was able to come back and make an impact on America with Enter the Dragon, but that was very difficult for him. Yeah.
That's living proof of what you were saying earlier, that when you really get to know someone and really get to know their story up close,
yes,
how much of a difference that could make.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I have a train going by.
Well, I gotta make a quick dash. I'll be back in 3 seconds.
Go for it.
Okay.
For it.
And just so, Sarah, in the little moment that we have, Kareem will be back. I just wanted the leaders to know that during COVID-19, we were watching all of those kind of reruns of the Bulls championships, and they were talking about Jordan taking the shot at the end of the game.
Mhm.
And I think it's as courageous as it is to take the shot at the end of the game. There's no courage like I've seen with like first responders and people who have the guts to go to hospitals, go to work every day in spite of COVID-19. So you are, there are lots of people who are heroic that are working at your organization.
Mhm. Absolutely. I think that's very well said, Mark. Okay.
Okay.
All right. What is or has been your message to minorities to keep them both focused and encouraged during this time? Virtual school for seniors, missing important milestones in their lives, with all they have been facing even before the pandemic, which is challenging for you. What has been your message to them to keep them focused and going?
Well, I would tell them that this could be a lot worse. People could be dying. And the fact that we've had the ability to understand to some degree how to deal with this, we're very fortunate that way. And we have to follow the science, follow the directives of, the people in the medical professions that know what they're doing. We have to take their word for it and do the things that are necessary to get on top of this. If we can do that as a nation, we're going to heal this. But until that happens, we won't have the success that we need.
Okay. Mark, do you want me to grab another question?
Yes.
Okay. In your procedure career, what is the greatest lesson that you have learned about empathy?
What is the greatest lesson for?
About empathy.
Geez. I think empathy is something that you have to develop from the time that you're a child. People that don't understand other people's problems, that people who don't have empathy really don't understand what's going on in the world. So I think that's something that has to come from the individual. That's not something you can teach people. You have to get to them some way to get that emotion and that feeling to come forth. That's a hard one.
Do you have hope that the movement towards equity, both in medicine but then in society as a whole, that it will continue to increase? And if yes, where does your hope come from?
My hope comes from the fact that sometimes people don't understand other people's problems until they see it in real life. This summer, the killing of George Floyd really enabled all Americans to see what Black Americans have been dealing with for 400 years. They couldn't see it, for all of its cruelty and it defies rational thought why people would want to kill someone like that. And what did he do to be treated like that? I think that all of America saw what that was, and they don't want any part of that type of racism. And I think that was a breakthrough for our nation as a whole. And I hope that people can remember that and keep that lesson in front of them and treat people correctly because of that.
Yes.
Another question we have is, how can we be successful promoting healthcare in underserved communities? So how can we get those communities engaged in their health and wellness?
We can get them engaged by letting them know that what's available to them and building the confidence. And that takes communication. You have to let people know that it's a viable way to take care of their health issues. And I think the most important thing is to have people of color involved, because other people of color will listen to them because they know, the common experiences that we have will enable them to communicate and have confidence that somebody really cares about what happens to them, and that whatever care that they receive will be first rate.
Kareem, it seems like some hospitals that have been in Black communities forever, some of them have reputations in the community as the place where you go to die. But it looks to me that the community health centers, because they don't have such reputation, they're newer, they are really, can get off to a really fresh start without that.
Yeah, we need a fresh start there because, the history is so negative, that Black people suffer from physical and mental health issues to a greater degree than any other segment in society. And, we got to do something about that. But you got to start with the Black community first. They have to realize that they have these problems and that they can be fixed. That healthcare, both mental and physical, is something that will deal with these problems and mitigate them. If they don't understand that, they'll never have the confidence to be involved.
So Kareem, we just have a few minutes left, so I want to leave the floor to you for any final thoughts that you would like to leave with the leaders of our community health centers.
Well, I think I'm going to close with a quote from John Wooden. He said, "Not to mistake activity for achievement." So the fact that you have a healthcare center in a place and they're not making an effort to connect with the community that they're in, that's not going to work. So we're going to have to make sure that there's a sincere effort to communicate and build the bridges with the various communities, especially communities of color, that healthcare is there for them. It will help them. It will change the quality of their lives, and they have to be involved. And if we can do that, we will affect the change that we want to affect.
Well, we have greatly enjoyed this conversation. It's been illuminating. It's been my honor to co-host this conversation with Mark and to chat with you. I just want to thank you on behalf of the Illinois Primary Healthcare Association for joining us today and providing your candid feedback. You answered every single question we posed to you. Thank you so much. We greatly.
Well, no, it was great to talk with you guys. I want to wish you success, and I hope all the folks up there in Illinois have checked this out and come by and see what you guys are doing and become involved, because change is on its way.
Yes, it is coming.
Yes.
In fact, I want to thank Kareem for his time today. Mark, I want to thank you as my co-host. We are going to close out the conference with a brief message from our new board chair, Kenneth Burnett. But thank you again, Kareem. We really appreciated having you.
Thank
You're
you
welcome.
so much. Yes.
Thank you.